Hello and welcome back to another episode of this week's watches, and today we have the true epitome of variety, and there's no question about it. We have from modern Tudor to a brand new Ming to vintage Amiga to vintage Rolex even. There's everything you could possibly imagine in this drop, and a Seiko, gold-plated Seiko. I'm excited to show you this one because it has box and paperwork from 1966. I've never seen anything quite like it. So again, variety is what we do here at Kibble Watches, and we try to provide that for each and every drop. Obviously, sometimes we end up with more expensive watches, like an entire drop of that. Sometimes we have an entire drop of more affordable watches. This week we've definitely sort of blended it all together nicely, and this is what we want to be able to achieve. So as always, if you want to skip to a specific watch you see on the table, go down into the description, you'll see timestamps, you'll also see a link to the website where you can go check out all the information, the photos, the price, and make a purchase if you so wish. A couple of these watches may already be spoken for. I know the MK40 up here is already on hold, so it may be sold by the time you're watching this, so I do apologize in advance. But if you want to beat the drop and beat the website, the best thing to do is follow us on Instagram. We now have access to our Instagram back at Kibble Watches, so make sure you follow us there. And on the stories, we showcase everything that's coming soon, so you can beat the website and make a purchase prior to ever getting to this point, which is the best way to do it, because once it gets here, it's anyone's game. Whoever gets there first gets the watch. Now, in terms of what's on wrist, I'm wearing a new watch I recently just got, and I have zero idea how to actually pronounce it correctly. Mine, I have no idea. M-A-E-N. This is the Hudson, the MK4. Really good looking watch actually, and I bought it because I have a little brother called Hudson, and when he turns 18, I'm just going to give him this watch because I think it's kind of cool that he's got his name on it. Whether he'll like it or not is another question, but I'm sure he will. I think it's a cool looking watch, that's for sure. But now we've got that all out of the way, let's start with the watches, and we're going to have to start with the Ming. This is the new Moonphase. I believe we're one of the first few people in the UK to have one, so let's take a closer look. So first up for this week's drop is this absolutely gorgeous Ming 37.05 Moonphase, featuring that very gorgeous textured dial which is in blue. Now in certain lights you really can't get the depth of the sort of texture or the colour, and then in other lights it really pops, so it's quite dynamic. And obviously you've got those quite famous Ming handset, and also the way they do the lume around the outside as well, all very much Ming, and same with the case. Now this one is brand new, unworn, from August 2022. It does come with its full box and paperwork, and beating away inside there is the manually wound Salita 288.M1, which was done for Ming and in collaboration with Schwartz Etienne for the finishing. As you can tell, that is absolutely gorgeous, and it's great to see Schwartz Etienne doing more and more for other brands as well, because their work is exceptional. And obviously we've had a Ming in the past that was in collaboration with Schwartz Etienne for the movement, and again that was very gorgeous, and it sold very quickly as well. So again, the popularity of this one is going to be on there, obviously paired on the new Jean Rousseau straps with the new buckle where it sort of curves, so you put it through and then you curve underneath. That's how you wear this strap. Now I don't know how that's going to feel long term, I'm sure it will be completely fine, but just a new way of doing things. So as I say, the 3705, August 2022, full box and paperwork, and an absolutely wonderful watch. If you're in the market for a Moonphase that's slightly different, this will definitely tick that box, and the case dimensions are always fantastic on the wrist as well. Let's show it rested on wrist and talk dimensions. So here we go around my 7-inch wrist. This is 38mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 12mm thick and 20mm lug, so endless options, although I would recommend using the Ming straps because they have those wonderfully curved spring bars and ends which really wrap around the case nicely and work so well with the design. So a wonderful watch, and one well worth checking out. Go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go over to my favorite watch on the table, and one I very closely considered keeping but realized I can't keep doing that with every watch. That is the Amiga Speedmaster MK40. Let's take a closer look. So as I said, a true favorite of mine. I've always been a big fan of the MK40s. I think the pops of color works so well with the design, and in the smaller case I think this really works. Obviously this is the Amiga Speedmaster Reduced, or the Speedmaster Automatic, there's a few different names for it, but this one is in fantastic condition. It comes with its original bracelet. It doesn't come with any box and paperwork unfortunately, but these are definitely getting harder and harder to find, and especially in good condition, because when this watch was released it wasn't exactly a rare or expensive watch. It was quite a complicated watch for the time, and still arguably is quite complicated today with its features, which are a chronograph. You've got a day and date, and you've got a month indicator, as well as a 24-hour subdial as well. All operated through the crown, apart from the date, which is through the pusher up here. So again, to have all this complication pretty much exclusively through the crown operation is very interesting and very easy to do. You'll see a lot of this kind of complication where it has loads of these little holes in the case for pushers. This is a far better way to do it. So this is the reference 175.0084. Beating away inside is the automatic Amiga caliber 1151, which is obviously one of their stacked movements, so do keep that in mind. And this one's from circa 1999, and as I say, it does come on its original bracelet, but no paperwork, unfortunately. But let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. So the bracelet fits my wrist comfortably. Any bigger, you will need some extra links, and we have some links on order for the customer who this is on hold for. So if that falls through, this will have extra links as well. Really gorgeous example. So this is 39mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, 13.5mm thick, and 18mm lugs. So endless options. This looks fantastic on a brown suede, in my opinion. So go check it out on the website today. From there, let's go to its left with the Rolex Datejust Buckley grey dial. Some of you may remember this. We've got it back, and I'm excited to have it back because it is one of the nicest Buckleys we have ever had in stock, and I'll be surprised if it sticks around. So go check it out. It's priced super competitively. So let's take a closer look. So Rolex time with a wonderful Rolex Datejust. This is a grey Buckley dial. Now you'll see on the website we currently have a white Buckley dial, and that's for the most part the ones you commonly see. Again, Buckleys are still not seen regularly. They are a little bit rare, but when you see them, they're usually the white ones like that. So it's a crystal white dial, really clean, with this contrasting black handset and black Roman numerals. Whereas this one, as you can see, is very monochromatic with the grey, and it is truly wonderful. This is a reference 16014 from circa 1978. It doesn't come with any box and papers, and it does come on its Jubilee bracelet, as you can see. And this inside this is the automatic Rolex caliber 3035, which will come as no surprise to any of you who know your Rolex references. Now, the Datejust 16014 is 5 digits, so it's in reference to a quickset date, but it also references the white gold fluted bezel. So that's why you could probably see a little bit in the camera. You can definitely see it in person, but this has a slightly warmer tone to it than the steel, and that's because it's 18 karat white gold, and white gold ages slightly different to steel and just generally looks a little bit different to steel. Quite easy to see when you've got them next to each other, but if you just saw an all white gold watch and an all steel watch from afar, you probably wouldn't notice the difference, which is the appeal of white gold for most people. But a really gorgeous example. Let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here it is on my 7-inch wrist, a really good looking piece. This is 36mm by 44mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick and 20mm lugs. Endless options. Again, this is another one of the watches that look fantastic on a strap, but you have the Jubilee option if you are after that as well. So go check it out on the website today. Next up, a CWC RAF Chronograph 6BB. This is a really good looking example from the 1980, and again priced super competitively. Let's take a closer look. So one for you military guys and girls out there, this is an absolutely gorgeous CWC Chronograph 6BB for the Air Force, and this one is from circa 1980. You can see it's got a very nice dial and handset, really nice strong case, and obviously case back is engraved as you'd expect, with all the military markings, including the broad arrow, which is what is famous with the military watches. These are definitely getting harder and harder to find in good condition, and sort of original as well, so it's nice to see one honest like this as well. So this one is from circa 1980, as I said, and inside is a manually wound Valjoux 7733, a very notorious movement across that was used across the board for so many watches, but very heavily used among military chronographs as well. You can see it has this slightly unusual case shape where you've got the crown guards built into the case, so it protrudes more out towards this side than this side, and a really gorgeous looking watch altogether. Let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. Here we go on my 7-inch wrist, very much at home at this size, 38.5mm by 46mm lug to lug, only 12.5mm thick. That's not including the NATO strap, so do keep that in mind. Obviously fixed spring bars, so you either need to wear it on a NATO strap or an open-ended strap that you can fold around the spring bars, so do keep that in mind. And 20mm lugs, so endless options, but a really good looking watch, and one that really does look good on NATOs. As a lot of you know, I'm not a fan of NATO straps unless it's on a true military watch. I think they are meant to be on them, and they just look fantastic. But go check this out on the website today. From there, again, to something, you're going to hear this a lot, but something that is priced very, very well. We're trying our best to buy very competitively, because therefore we can pass that saving on to you guys and girls when you purchase as well. And you'll see that with this piece especially. This is the Tudor Black Bay 41 in-house, not the ETA and not the 58, but a very, very good example full set. It's in worn condition, so if you're wanting to buy this watch to enjoy and wear and not worry about, perfect, it's right here. Now if you do want it looking brand new, we can provide a purchase and additional costs, so get in contact. But let's take a closer look. So it's Black Bay time, and this is the 41mm, so the one that came after the ETA and the one previous to the 58, which is obviously the smaller 39mm and thinner. Now this is a really good watch, very well built. However, it is slightly bigger in both case size and thickness, so for that reason a lot of people have been turned away from the watch, and it's made it very affordable on the pre-owned market. Now if you have a slightly bigger wrist, I'd say even a wrist like my size, about 7 inches, you can totally get away with this watch. I would say even slightly less if you're comfortable with a bigger watch. So I wouldn't disregard this completely. I do know a few people who prefer this case and this size to the 58. So again, don't disregard it completely. Do I prefer the 58 personally? Yes, and I prefer it on my wrist. However, this isn't out of place, and I think the value that can be had on these is undeniable. So this is the reference 79230N, and inside is the automatic Tudor caliber MT5602. This one's from December 2018. It does come with its full box and paperwork and full bracelet, as you can see, and it is worn. You know, the person before this definitely enjoyed this watch. He's never had it polished, and we're keeping it that way, so that way you can make the decision. If you want to buy it, put it on wrist, enjoy it, not worry about it, it's ready to go. And any scratches you put in, you're not going to feel bad about. Whereas if you want it to look brand new when you get it, just let us know. We can get it polished, and it will come to you looking amazing. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, it doesn't look ridiculous on the wrist. Yes, it's a bit thicker. A cuff wouldn't comfortably go over that watch, that's for sure, but I don't think it's out of place. So this, as I say, is 41mm by 50mm lug to lug, right on that sweet point. 14.5mm thick and 22mm lug, so endless options on straps if you're not a fan of the bracelet. So go check this one out on the website today and get yourself a bargain. From there to the best bang per buck, in my opinion, on the table. And I'm going to say the price because I don't think it's going to hang around long, and I think a lot of you are going to realise this was a purchase of the day for sure. And that's this Amiga DeVille Prestige Co-Axial automatic. It is watch only, but it's £1,500. To me, that is insane for an automatic coaxial, which you can still buy today from Amiga for £3,300. This is a bargain, so let's go check it out. I've always been a fan of this watch, and I've always felt like it's been the underrated model among the Amiga lineup, the modern Amiga lineup. This is the DeVille Prestige, and they also do a model with a sort of slate grey textured dial and highlights of blue. That is my favourite, and if I got one of those in at this kind of price point, I think I'd probably be keeping it, to be honest with you, so thank God it wasn't that one. But this is, I'm not going to bother with the reference. As always, Amiga have stupidly long references, and as I say, this is watch only. It does come with an Amiga service pouch, and it does come with its original black leather strap and Amiga buckle, so you are getting that as well. However, we've swapped it over onto this grey suede from the strap tailor. This is one of the premium suede, and I think it looks fantastic on this watch. Really tones it down, makes it a t-shirt and jeans kind of watch, and as soon as you put it on that nice glossy black leather, it dresses it right up, and you've got yourself a perfect dress watch. Again, as you can tell, big fan of it. So circa 2008, and inside is the automatic Amiga coaxial caliber 2500, one of the earlier coaxial movements from Amiga, but still very good, very reliable. And this one is running fantastically. The size we'll get onto in more detail on the wrist, but it's 39.5 millimeters, just under 40 mil, and you've got that stepped bezel, which really draws your eyes inwards towards the dial, and those highly polished hands and Roman numerals. Everything about this watch pulls together beautifully into this dressy package, whilst also being able to be toned down, as you can see, like this. I do think on a brown strap it would also look fantastic, but apparently I love brown suede too much, so every now and again I'll switch it up for grey suede. Yes, really going out there. But let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. That looks absolutely fantastic in my opinion. What do you guys think of this watch? Let me know down below. So 39.5mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, only 9.5mm thick. That's incredibly thin for this kind of watch with a coaxial. and 20mm lugs. So endless options if you're not a fan of the grey suede, or the quite used, I will let you know it is quite used black original Amiga strap, but the point is it's got the original buckle, so you can always swap that over if you so please. Go check it out on the website today. Let's go over to vintage with the Amiga Cmaster 600, a really gorgeous example with faceted numerals. Again, you can't really capture it unless you're moving it around, so let's take a closer look. From modern Amiga to vintage Amiga, and this is also an absolute classic. This is an Amiga Cmaster 600 with the most beautiful faceted indices. Let's see if I can get that a bit closer so you can see as the light plays around. They have two facets to them, or one facet where it's cut in the center like so, and it just makes the light play so well with the numerals and looks fantastic. These Cmaster 600s are brilliant. So inside this is the manually wound Amiga caliber 611. I believe that is what the Cmaster 600 is in reference to, the 600 series movements. This is the reference 136.011, and it is a 23 million serial, which dates it to circa 1966, so a very early example, and it is in fantastic condition considering the age. The Seamaster and Seahorse on the caseback clearly visible, which isn't always the case, as a lot of you guys and girls will know. Nice Amiga sign crown right there as well, and the case proportions on this are fantastic. Got it paired on this grey strap, which I think looks really good. Again, tones it down. If you put it on a nice glossy black, you're going to have yourself a really beautiful dress watch. But like this, you really bring it down to a t-shirt and jeans kind of appeal. So let's show it on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go on wrist, beautifully classic. This is 34mm by 39.5mm lug to lug, only 10mm thick and 18mm lug. So go check out this beauty on the website today. It is priced so fair. From there to a Fuze for well under £1,000. Now the Redcliffe line is a quartz line that they no longer make. They discontinued quite a while ago now. And this is the Redcliffe Date Blue, which is absolutely gorgeous. So let's take a closer look. Next up, a Fuze for under £1,000. Yes, you heard that right. So this is the Redcliffe Date, absolutely gorgeous quartz watch, back when they used to make quartz watches. So Fuze, like most brands, began at a more affordable price range to build up their recognition, but also it's a much easier thing to do. It's an easier thing to produce a sort of £500 to £800 quartz watch than it is to produce a really incredible £3,000 to £5,000 plus mechanical watch. So this way you get the brand recognition going, you start building your customer base, and then you proceed to grow with all of that, which is exactly what Nicholas of Fuze watches did. Now that isn't in any way to say that these are a lesser watch. They are still incredibly well built, they're still beautifully designed, and they have everything encompassing that a Fuze watch has. So this is the reference BS13810, the Redcliffe Date in Passport Blue, I believe they used to call it. No, sorry, Passport Red, because they used to be red, so this isn't that one, this is the blue dial. Inside is a quartz Ronda 515, and interestingly, this is serial number 11, and this one's from November 2016. Now, anyone who is a fan of Fuze and knows their history will know that November 2016 is when Fuze was relaunched. So this watch was actually purchased at the relaunch of the brand. So that makes it one of the very first Fuze watches sold when they relaunched, which is kind of amazing. But a really gorgeous watch. Let's show it on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. I forgot to mention it does come with its box and papers, and it also comes with an additional Fuze strap, which is really nice. So 38mm by 45mm lug to lug, only 8.5mm thin, so super thin on the wrist, and 20mm lugs. So endless options if you're not a fan of this strap or the blue strap it also comes with. I think between the two you've got two fantastic looks. So go check it out on the website today. From there to a completely bead blasted Squall, which is my favourite kind of Squall, because this case in my opinion looks best when it looks like this. Let's take a closer look. So next up, Squall, and as I said, Squall and bead blasting is the look in my opinion. This style case is absolutely awesome when it's finished like this. And this is the Militaire 1521. The 1521 is a reference that most people probably know Squall for. It's this case shape, it's this design, and it's kind of what has put them on the map. Now obviously Squall has been around for a very long time, and they actually used to create watches very similar to this. They did some collaborations with Blancpain and a couple of other brands across the ages, and they've really narrowed in their modern design to replicate that vintage aesthetic, and I think they've done it very well. Now inside this is the automatic Salita SW200. This one's from circa 2021, and it does come with its box and paperwork. It is in fantastic condition and a really great example as well. As you can see, no date on this one, which again really helps with the aesthetics. But they're shot on wrist and taut dimension. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now, as you can see, it works really, really well. At 41mm by 48.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm thick, which is surprisingly thin for a automatic dive watch of this kind of style. And because of the shape of the case, it really slopes around the lugs very well. And 20mm lugs are endless options, although this Tropic rubber that it comes on by Squall is super comfortable on the wrist. So go check it out on the website today. And now on to a 1966 Seiko gold plated with its box and papers, which is in very good condition considering the gold plating. Again, I don't think you can go wrong with something like this with its box and papers. You won't find another one, that's for sure. Let's take a closer look. So a Seiko Psychomatic 5, a really gorgeous looking watch in gold plated. Because of the age of the gold plating, it's going more towards the rosy color of gold plating. Now it is yellow gold, but it again isn't that really harsh, bright yellow, in my opinion. Now, as I said, the thing that makes this absolutely incredible is the fact it's got its box and papers from 1966. It also has its additional booklets, some of which I've never seen, like the additional paperwork. One about the service areas where you can get your watches serviced, and one of them is EC1 over in Hatton Garden, which, for those of you who know where we're located in Clerkenwell, that is a 5-minute walk, and the watch was interestingly purchased from that same place. So the purchase paperwork is also filled out with the name and the age being 1966. Now, a lot of you who know your Seikos will know the vintage Seikos, especially your nifty little trick of going back and forth to change the dates. Well, interestingly, that was described on a piece of paper by Seiko in 1966 on how to do it. So we often think of this as more of a modern thing that we talk about and explain as like a little hack to progress the date. Well, Seiko already knew about that and were encouraging people to progress the date that way back in 1966, which I find personally fascinating. So the reference to this one is the 418970, and inside is the automatic Psychomatic caliber 410, which again, Seiko being quite an earlier caliber as well. This one's from July 1966, and as I say, with its box and paperwork in very good condition. They're shown on wrist and taut dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now this is surprisingly a bit larger for 1960s. This is 36.5mm by 43mm lug to lug. 12mm thick, and a lot of that is down to the highly domed crystal, so do keep that in mind. And 18mm on the lug width, so endless options as well. Go check out this beauty on the website today. And last is a watch that's not on the table, and I will include it afterwards. It's just getting regulated. It is a 1959 Longines in 14 karat gold with the most beautiful case. Let's take a closer look at this gorgeous watch. And finally, a truly elegant and beautiful Longines. This is a solid 14 karat yellow gold Longines from 1959. So super early. Inside a manually wound Longines caliber 23Z. And as you can see, super thin, really interesting lugs, and a nice sort of coin-edged, almost fluted bezel, as you can see around the perimeter of the case. Obviously, Longines sign crown there as well, which is almost as thick as the watch, to be honest. It's kind of amazing, the whole profile of this watch. Really beautiful. We're calling this a Longines Calatrava. That's due to the Calatrava design, and it is running really, really well and absolutely gorgeous. Some patina around the edge of the dial as you'd expect, and it's paired on this really nice brown strap. I don't think you can go wrong with something like this, especially the price under £1,000 for a solid 14 karat gold dress watch, and not just any dress watch, one from a brand as amazing as Longines. If we didn't have Longines, we wouldn't have Amiga today, and that's part of the history and one worth reading up on as well if you're not aware. But let's show this one on wrist and taut dimensions. Here we go on wrist. Now I did forget to say it does come with its period correct box as well, which is absolutely fantastic. This is 33.5mm by 38.5mm lug to lug, only 7mm thick, and that's including the crystal. This is incredibly thin and sits super low and elegantly on the wrist. And 18mm lugs, so endless options right there. For this watch, so go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. That is this week's drop, a really varied drop, as I already said, and one that I think anyone can find something they really like, and that's what we want to be able to achieve here at Kibble Watches. We want to provide the weird and wonderful with brands that most people haven't heard of or are new to, for example Ming or even Squall for that matter. I think there's some real nuances in these brands, all the way up to your core brands, Rolex, Amiga, Tudor. You know, again, we want to provide a nice varied bunch of these watches, and we are certainly doing our best to do that. So go check them out today. We'll see you all again next time. Take care.